Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Yeonni, and for today's Mental Health Monday, I wanted to talk about the field of social work. I know a lot of you had a lot of different questions on various of my previous videos on what it's like to be a social worker, things like turnover rates and the pay and the social reputation. So those are all the topics that I thought I would delve into today. I did want to just say that I am just one person, my experience is just my own, and also maybe from just compiling stories and experiences of my coworkers around me. The social work field is a vast, large field where you can work in so many different kinds of settings with so many different kinds of clients and patients. So just take everything I say with a grain of salt. It could really be different for everyone. I thought I would just put this video together to give you some insight. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. The first thing I wanted to address regarding social work is the work-life balance. There's a lot of interesting social work Instagram accounts, and it's becoming more prevalent, but there's a lot of social work memes or things that you kind of know as a social worker. And one of the biggest things is that work-life balance as a social worker does not exist. I share this with you, but I don't really like it because I think work-life balance is necessary for any job, especially for social workers. But it is widely known that a lot of the time social workers are really overworked and overstretched, and it makes it hard for them to have a very good work-life balance. And like I said, it really is dependent on wherever the setting is, but wherever it is, you will most likely be overworked. That's just kind of what social workers have to deal with, because social work really isn't a new field anymore, but it's a field that a lot of people don't really know that much about. So when it's the general public, it might not be a big deal, but when it's your coworkers or your boss or your company that hires you just because they need you for one function, but then they make you do 10 different things because they're not really sure if it's something you should do or not, then it becomes a problem. Also, work-life balance might be difficult for social workers because a lot of the work that we do is really sensitive and emotional, and it's really easy for us to experience that countertransference and bring the stories and the experiences we've heard at work home. And it's not like we intend to do it, but it's really easy for us to do that because we're human. When we hear something that really affected us deeply, we could take that home. So at the end of the day, when it comes to work-life balance, it's really what you make of it. Even if there is this trend and this well-known fact that social workers don't really have a work-life balance, I don't think that's something we should get comfortable with. I don't think that's something we should embrace. I think it's something we should work actively to change so that social workers can get the breaks that they need to get in order to have a more healthy work-life balance and be better clinicians and just be happier employees overall. Next thing I wanted to talk about is about the pay. So this is something that a lot of people are interested in hearing about, and let me be upfront and honest, social workers don't make that much money. Yeah, we really don't. And a lot of the times it's it's very odd and confusing why we don't, because social workers do so much work and we're required to have so much training for just the most basic jobs. We have to have a master's degree, we have to have a license to practice. And yes, you can practice social work as a BSW, that's a bachelor's in social work, but it is just facts that if you have your master's degree and if you have your license, there are a lot more doors of opportunities that open for you as a social worker, especially if you want to do more clinical work like in hospitals or in primary care and do more psychotherapy. However, yeah, we're really not paid that much. And I remember in class last year, 2 years ago, we had a conversation on this topic, and a lot of it was really interesting because social workers don't really have unions. Apparently, nurses used to also not get paid that well back in the day, and then a lot of nurses, they came together, they realized they deserved to be treated better and paid better for their services. Nurses are one of the main tenants of the hospital system, and without nurses, people don't get care. They do such great work, and they were being treated like dirt, paid like dirt, so they were like, we deserve better than this. So they came together, they unionized, they protested, they went on strike, and lo and behold, nurses get paid very well these days. They have a really strong union and they're doing well. But for whatever reason, social workers, we're not there yet. We are really good at hearing people out, understanding what we're going through, what others are going through, yet for whatever reason, we haven't really stood up for ourselves yet in that sense. So I say yet because I would like to imagine a future where we do get paid a lot better, but as of this moment, depending on the state you live, it's different. I know New York City and California pays their social workers relatively well, and also it really depends on what kind of setting you're in. I know that medical and hospital settings pay social workers the best, and then I know that nonprofits kind of struggle to pay their social workers because nonprofits, they're just struggling themselves to survive, you know. However, turning that into a positive, there are a lot of opportunities for your pay to grow, whether it's after working as an LMSW or licensed master social worker for 3 years and getting your clinical license, which is another license. It's like an advanced clinical license that you can take a test for and get your LMSW changed to an LCSW. Your pay raises significantly with that C, or with just years of experience in the field, your pay rate could go up, you know, opportunities for promotions, or you could pursue even higher degrees, and there's things like that. So it's not like when you become a social worker, you get paid this one sum and that's it for the rest of your life. As with many other fields, there are opportunities to grow in the field, which I think is fantastic. So societal reputation of the social worker. When I first said I wanted to be a social worker, somebody that I knew from undergrad asked me, so you want to work in a place that like takes people's children away? And that at the time kind of irked me, but not as much as it would now because I didn't know that much about social work. There's just this societal perception that social workers are, first of all, like a confusion about what do social workers even do. And for that, I made a what is social work video on my channel a few years ago. I will link it here in the cards if I know how to do it. If it's not there, then I don't know what I'm doing, so it's in the description down below regardless. Like I said, social work is such a huge field where social workers are just working everywhere, yet a lot of social workers work behind the scenes. A lot of it has to do with the fact that we work with marginalized, oppressed populations that society has kind of thrown away, that they don't want to deal with, whether it's ageism or ableism or racism, you know, classism, all these isms that, you know, if you're interested, I know someone suggested an ableism video, which I really want to do more research on before I speak on it, but that's a great topic. Thank you so much for whoever that suggested that. All of these isms that get in the way of an equal society, and we social workers, our clients are those who have been oppressed by the current society. And of course, it kind of makes sense that people don't know what social workers are doing or are not interested in getting to know what social workers are doing because they're not interested in our clients. So that was something that I kind of realized as I do this work that could contribute to the social reputation of social workers. Another thing I wanted to talk about in the social work field is the turnover rate. So turnover rate in social work is extremely high for a lot of different reasons. Mostly the things that I mentioned beforehand, like the pay, the societal reputation, the work-life balance. And if you don't really know these going into the field, a lot of people just realize they don't like the field and they quit and they try to find different opportunities. They try to go back to school to do something else. And I think that's why it's so important to educate yourself on what you're signing up for. When you get a social work degree, you invest time and money and your energy into this degree. So why not put in a little more effort and try to get to know the reality of it before you commit yourself to it. So the last thing I wanted to say is, oh my god, my feet fell asleep. So the last thing I wanted to say is social work even worth it? Like, is it really worth it? And I say totally, but of course, it's different for everyone. But the facts are that social work is a field that is growing and thriving because, as sad as it may sound, society is not thriving. There are countless more homeless people out on the street every year. I believe in 2016, the homeless population in New York City surpassed actually 60,000 people out on the street, which is a number I cannot even fathom. As we progress more as a society, there are more people who are in need, more aging population, more people who have disabilities, who are not being taken care of, who are not being heard. So there is more need for social workers. Also, it's not even just about like the growth of the field or like the job. It's the fact that there's such a need, and people who see the need and act on it selflessly can make true changes in people's lives. Yes, there's a high turnover rate. Yes, you don't get paid that much. Yes, we suck at unionizing. Yes, all of these things. However, at least for me personally, and from what I've heard from my coworkers and bosses and colleagues who are some of the most amazing social workers I've ever met, is that you feel a purpose in life. You wake up every day, and yes, it's not the easiest job, you know, like it drains you emotionally and mentally. However, you feel like you have a purpose in life, and it's to help those who have close to nothing, who have no family, who have no support, and you're their support. I think that's such a powerful thing. I know it's kind of corny, but I read somewhere when I was applying to social work schools, it was probably like a application prompt on one of the programs that I applied to, but it's like they say social workers are the everyday superheroes, and I've never grown up wanting to be a superhero or anything like that. It just was not, I don't know, but I never had that growing up. But when I hear that I can be a hero to someone who can uplift and empower another being and save their lives, really, not, you know, I do bunny ears, but like, you are saving lives as social workers. When I'm like 100 years old, actually I don't know if I want to live until I'm 100. When I'm really old and surrounded by my children and grandchildren and I'm ready to leave this earth, I feel like I'll be able to look back on my life and say, I've done good things in my life. You know, I'll think of each and every client and patient that I've had the honor of hearing about their lives and their stories. Isn't that one of the best things you could say when you're in your early 20s? Like, yeah, like who knows where my life will be in 5 years, even next year. Who knows where I'll be in 10 years, even 20 years. I don't know, but at least right now, all I can do is focus on now and the present. And at this time, I really believe that what I'm doing is worth it. And I will look back and say, wow, 24-year-old Yeonni did really great things and I'm proud of her, you know? So that got very like emotional and like sob story-y, but that's just how I feel. I'm very passionate about this field and the people, and I'm so grateful for people who see a need in society and act on it. I'm so honored to be a part of that movement. And yeah, that's it for this week's Mental Health Monday. A lot of things on social work. I hope that this video is able to help you in any way. If you're interested in pursuing social work, or if you are in social work school and not sure where to go from there, I hope you like this video. Please like it if you do. I make Mental Health Mondays every Monday and free-for-all videos every Friday/Saturday, as it seems like it's going to be from now on. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!